In this video, I'm looking at practice problem number 1 from lecture 3. In this problem, there's an investor that's given the $34,000 in wealth. And the question is, if the investor invests this $34,000, what is the future value of this investment 5 years from today? So sometimes, as I mentioned in the notes, it can be useful to put up a timeline just to kind of keep track of things, where essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking at the timeline from the perspective here. So that's the investor, say me, and I'm going to put this money into this investment and I'm going to leave it sit for 5 years. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at that 5th year, what I'm curious about is how much this will be worth after it sat in that account for 5 years, earning the given interest rate. The interest rate that's given is 8%, so that just means that I is 0.08. And what I'm trying to do is find the future value of this $34,000 at that point in time. So the formula that we went over was, what I can do is I can take that initial investment amount, so in this case I take my $34,000, and then I multiply it according to the formula by 1 plus I. So in this case, the I is 0.08, so 1 plus I should be 1.08. And then finally, I raise that to the power the number of years it's going to sit, or the maturity date. So again, in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N is 5, and so I put this to the exponent 5. Then I should be able to plug all that into my calculator and get my future value. So if I take 1.08 to the power 5, then multiply that by $34,000, I have a grand total of something like 49957.15. So it looks like $49,957.15. That same question says, what about 2 years? So it's just practice. That is, what if we only let it sit for 2 years? So then what I'm just asking is, if I put that money in today and it only sits for these 2 years, what would be the balance in the account after 2 years passes? So for 2 years, I'm using the same formula. I'm just going to change that maturity date. So in this case, the future value should be, I start with $34,000 and I plug it in for 2 years at the 8% interest rate. So times 1.08, and then I raise that to the power 2. So again, if I put that in my calculator, 1.08 to the power 2 times $34,000, it looks like my future value would be $39,657.6 is my future value.